BC Architects, or let's start BC, stands for Brussels Cooperation, so it's a group of people. And BC contains 3 chapters. It's a hybrid practice, having BC Architects, which is an architectural practice. We have BC Studies, which is an association focusing on sensibilization, focusing on workshop, educational practices, and these types of topics. And we have BC Materials, which is a cooperative producing building materials out of excavated earth of construction sites. Well, it's was Professor Min asking us to join the trajectory. We have been in close collaboration with him and the whole team around the Guangzhou Folly. And it is an interesting opportunity to be part of such a type of trajectory with the students and the elaboration of the pavilions. So yeah, looking forward to it. I think the team design for deconstruction is definitely nowadays is a very relevant question. Definitely in the universe of architecture, because definitely in these times of transition, in which we try to change building culture in such a way that it allows a sustainable future for humanity, for the planet. I think design for deconstruction is definitely one of the many alternatives or different answers one can give within architecture, meaning that we think from the very first steps of the architectural design how the afterlife of the building will be, being in this case one of deconstruction and reuse. So I think that's very important that there's this change of understanding and perspective within the work of architects, that it's not only constructing a building but thinking of its whole lifespan, which goes beyond the construction. The importance of studying architecture with mock-ups, I think there's an importance of doing so whenever we try to communicate maybe quite new techniques, new materials. If we want to communicate with them, test out new things. A mock-up is the sole or one of the most important ways to test these new materials, to communicate to the client, communicate to a community, find the problems, find failures, find how to overcome those in construction. So mock-ups is definitely, when we're talking about non-standardized materials, a very important way to do architecture. We actually started our practice while studying. I think we were 4 co-founders at the time. We're now a large group, and I hope the longer that this group feels, all feel being BC and not anymore connecting to the co-founders. But I think during the studies we started with 4 friends to work together, to do things together, linked to design, linked to architecture. And it was a period when we were studying 2008, finishing our studies in that year, was a year in which Europe went into a crisis. There was the banking crisis, not only Europe but on a global scale. So it did kind of determine quite a lot that period how our trajectory as young architects would be. So during our studies, or let's say like that, let's put it like that, when we finished our studies, many things we had learned at the time had little relevance still in the world we came in. And so in our last month studying, I think it was a period when Martin Rauch, Anna Heringer, to name a few, these were architects which started to do architecture in a different way. Francis Carré as well, came out with his kind of third project. So I think these things influenced us a lot, being like these new materials such as earth, a kind of activist approach of architecture, because we entered a world which was clearly not suited anymore for the architecture we had learned. So I think the collectivity, these are maybe three important aspects of our studies. Oh, that's a hard question. I think what I can only recommend is rather that you follow a bit your own path. I do believe in collectivity. I don't, or at least for me personally, I see doing architecture in these new times not a one-man show, but rather a show of multiple people, of a group of people. And so I would definitely push to collectivity in life, collectivity in work, and finding your personal path within that collectivity. Well, I think the most appropriate one would be the project we're sitting in right now. I think so. Of course, today is the opening of Lot 8 project, a project we collaborated with Assemble on and Atelier Luma. Atelier Luma being at one side the user, but actually also part of the design team. So again, coming back to the collectivity, this kind of approach towards architecture being one in which it's about sharing knowledge, pursuing a collective process, a kind of act of building together, and this type of process allows us to experiment quite more than one would be able to do in a kind of more individual trajectory. And I think that the result is amazing, is one in which a building and a renovation of a building of approximately 3,000 square meters is one which is so connected in terms of spatial organization, in terms of materiality to the region, to the comarque, and which breeds this kind of connectivity to the region. I prioritize understanding the project, the context the project is sitting in, the client or the kind of stakeholders around it. So quite detailed, and before even drawing anything, I try to understand the human resources present on the site, the geographical resources, the material resources, the kind of historical resources or inspiration. So before anything, trying really for myself or for a team to understand what the grounds are that we will enter by doing that project. Well, all of you watching or listening, I wish you all the best in this trajectory, which is one which will be full of challenges, adventures, opportunities. So I support you and I wish you the best of luck in this adventure to you all.